Hollywood actors and influencers, the people who think they run the world, are now demanding that big tech censor anybody who they disagree with, really. People who say they are involved in hateful rhetoric, discriminatory rhetoric against all the different alphabet letters that are out there that are a big part of their endless campaigns. We see that there was a press release. People like this woman, Milano, and others created a big list. We always know they like to do this. They wrote a letter this time. Sometimes they'll do those stupid videos where they come out and they're like, I stand against hate. I stand against hate. Now, I stand against hate. You know, and they like all of it in like black and white with stupid music and like, you know, weird artistic lens flare, all sorts of stupid stuff. But this time they wrote it in a letter, and they want Zuckerberg, they want Google, everybody to start censoring Americans because they don't like what they have to say. This comes out over from GLAAD, GLAAD.org. You see all the people on this list: Alyssa Milano, Elliot Page, some people I don't recognize, Ariana Grande, you know, a lot of people here. And somebody named Hailey Bieber, Judd Apatow. Over 250 influential voices are calling on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok to Twitter to protect against anti-trans hate. So all of the big tech platforms now have to censor people. Here's what they published. They say true allies do not profit from anti-LGBTQ hate. This public letter calls on social media CEOs to take action on viral lies and disinformation about transgender healthcare and malicious anti-LGBTQ, quote, groomer narrative. So I guess if you say that word, or if you use that word, they want these platforms to take action. This is a call to action. It follows low and failing grades for social media platforms when GLAAD did their social media safety index. Google and YouTube and the Twitter better be careful. GLAAD's not happy with them. GLAAD is the world's largest organization. It announced that more than 250 LGBTQ, and I'm wondering, you know, is there no I's and A's and pluses here? What's going on with that? And ally actors and notables, 250 notables also, ally actors and other leaders signed a public letter created by GLAAD and the Human Rights Campaign, calling on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter to enforce hate speech, harassment, misinformation, and other existing content policies aimed at protecting transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming users and all LGBTQ people. This letter got addressed to Zuckerberg, Neil Mohan from YouTube, Shuzi Chu from TikTok, Linda Yaccarino, and Elon Musk from Twitter, saying that they need better protections and they want to deal with all of these problems. So let's read through the actual letter itself. They tell us, Dear Mark Zuckerberg, Neil, Shu, and Linda Yaccarino, and Elon Musk, as celebrities, influencers, and prominent public figures with significant followings on social media, these people, we, the undersigned, are calling on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and TikTok, and Twitter to fulfill the promises you've made to the transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming, and all LGBTQ users in your terms of service. There, they say, has been a massive systemic failure to prohibit hate, harassment, and malicious anti-LGBTQ disinformation on your platforms, and it must be addressed. And I'm curious as what they're going to say is worthy of being censored and removed. Dangerous posts, both contents and ads, created and circulated by high-follower anti-LGBTQ hate groups targeting transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people are thriving across your platforms, directly resulting in terrifying real-life harm, including bomb threats, which are awful, right? That should never happen. Targeting hospitals of children, also never happen. That offer healthcare, and death threats, which we totally disavow. We don't encourage any of that. Such false and hate-driven, widely circulated content on your platforms is even being cited by lawmakers advancing discriminatory legislation against trans people. So targeted misgendering, here we go, and dead naming of trans and non-binary people is a widespread mode of hate speech. See how that goes? So it goes from like bomb threats and death threats, which are already illegal, by the way, right? You can't make bomb threats. That is illegal. Threatening somebody with a death threat, that's illegal. Targeting children's hospitals, I don't know what that means. Like, you're allowed to protest, but if you're targeting them with bombs, that's not legal. There are already laws in place against that. That, I'm sure, is already being complied with in terms of service. But we go from that to this new line now. Targeted misgendering and dead naming of trans and non-binary people is a widespread mode of hate speech. It's utilized to bully and harass prominent figures while simultaneously expressing hatred and contempt. This disinformation and hate, inadequately moderated on your platform, plays an outsized role in real-world violence. As some organization has documented, this is particularly the case when it comes to the case of online extremists, wonder who those are, leading proactive, coordinated campaigns of hate and lies about healthcare for the youth. Despite the fact that every leading medical and physiological association says what they want it to say, they say that these dangerous people spread inflammatory disinformation to drive clicks and profit. And your policies and corresponding enforcement are inadequate when it comes to mitigating this content. So you, Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Elon, must urgently take action to protect the trans and LGBTQ users on your platform. We call for you to meet with community leaders and creators to hear about these real-world harms. They want stops to content that spreads malicious lies and disinformation about healthcare. You've got to stop it. About medically necessary healthcare for the transgender youth. If you have an opinion on that, they call it lies and disinformation. And they want it removed off the platform. They don't want you to debate it with them. They're not interested in a conversation about this. So, as described, this harmful content from high follower accounts, hate-based accounts. Is there anybody who comes to mind as like somebody who might be on this list, like maybe like a Matt Walsh, maybe? Has resulted in extraordinary real-world harms. And so specific mitigations on this disinformation must be developed. Watch, similar to election and COVID mitigation and rules. So you remember all those signs about COVID and all the signs about election and all the strikes that we got for medical misinformation. We were battling COVID, and election misinformation. We were battling the election. They now want that to also apply if you have a scientific disagreement with what should be done to underage children. So accounts, they want those gone, right? Like you get notified or nuked. Accounts and postings that perpetuate extremist hate and disinformation, which targets people with baseless and malicious disinformation about there being threats to children, like this groomer thing, man, they hate it. Such harmful and dangerous lies must be more effectively moderated and mitigated. And dehumanizing hateful attacks on prominent figures and influencers also have to go. A recent report said that 60% of people feel harmed from direct harassment and hate. You know, I don't want to live in a world where people are threatening each other and people are making violent attacks on one another and those types of things. That's not the world that I want to live in either. I don't condone or encourage any harassment. But there are already laws against harassment. There are already terms of service against harassment. This is now encroaching upon legitimate debate, which is enshrined in our First Amendment. And so that is the line that absolutely cannot be crossed. Here, they want censorship for misgendering, dead naming, and hate-driven tropes. Media Matters have identified multiple YouTube videos, which have accumulated millions of views, that bully, harass, and misgender. In each video, prominent anti-trans pundits use YouTube to demean, target, and misgender people. Is it demeaning and targeting and misgendering young people, or is it sharing a difference of opinion about topical societal issues? These videos remain active. They want them all gone. So this is how these people operate. You know, it's a very censorious type of attack. We know that leading national organizations agree with us. They say big tech companies do not profit from this hate. We speak together with one voice to demand that you create stronger content and ad policies and directly confront your content causing offline harm, signed by all of these notables, all of these very influential people. We'll see what Google and YouTube do, and Facebook and all of the others, right? But this pressure comes down to bear. We all lived through the election censorship. We all lived through the COVID censorship. Now they want all of the other areas of societal conversation weaponized so that you can't talk about it. And they sign a letter thinking that it matters. Maybe it does. We don't know. We know that Mark Zuckerberg and others got a little bit nervous after 2016. They all got blamed for getting Trump elected, and they all changed their attitudes pretty quickly. So when they respond to their people in their social circles breathing down their necks, censor our opponents for us. We don't want to debate them. Just censor them. We'll see if they respond.